Welcome back to Spring into Math 6. This is Mr. Stein, and today we're talking about percentage of numbers. So in the last few chapters, we've been reviewing fractions and decimals. Now we're going to look at percentages. So in mathematics, a percentage is a number or ratio expressed as a fraction of 100. It is often denoted using the percent sign, which you see there. So percent sign is pretty common. You're all used to that. Now, let's take a closer look at what percent means. So percent means parts per 100. So the symbol, which is your percent sign, denotes that it's a percent. So an example would be 25% means 25 per 100, or 25% of this box that you see here is green. So it tells you the ratio out of 100. So another example would be 10% means 10 out of every 100. So when 10% of people have ice cream, that means that 10 out of every 100 people had ice cream. So if there are 500 people, then 50 people would have ice cream. So even though the number might be larger, your percent is still out of 100. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. It says, what is 30% of 120? So the best way to do this is to set it up as a proportion. So you can look at 30% as 30 out of 100. So it can be stated as 30 to 100, or then you can see 30 with the colon to 100, or 30 over 100, which is equal to 3/10. Because if you think about it, and I were just to kind of highlight here and cross off those zeros, you'd have 3 over 10, which would be 3/10, which is expressed as 0.3, which would be 3/10. Now, we can set up the problem as x equals percent as a decimal is the total value. So then you have x equals 0.3 times 120. Because remember, when it says 30% of 120, that of is telling you to multiply. So it's 0.3 times 120, and if you were to multiply that out, you'd get 36. So the answer is 36. So it'd be what is 30% of 120? It would be 36. All right, so now let's look at what is 75% of 100. So now this one's obviously easier, but it helps to go through the process to kind of help with some of the other ones. So when solving percent problems, the basic formula is x equals the percent as a decimal times the original value. So we convert the percent to a decimal, so we have 75% is going to turn into 0.75 or 75 hundredths, and then you're going to multiply that times the original value. So then you have 0.75 times 100, and if you were to multiply that out, you're going to get 75. So 75% of 100 is 75. All right, let's take a look at another one. What is 45% of 50? All right, so we convert the percentage to a decimal. So we have 45%, we need to turn it into a decimal, so we just simply turn that into 0.45 or 45 hundredths. And then we use the original formula. So we have x equals 0.45 or 45 hundredths times 50, and so then you just multiply that out. 0.45 times 50 equals 22 and 5/10, or 22.5, so it's x equals 22.5 or 22 and 5/10. So remember, the key to this lesson, guys, is you take your percent, you turn it into a decimal, then you multiply it by the original value, whether it's 50, 100, 1,000, doesn't matter, and then your answer there is the answer you're looking for. I'll see you next time.